Welcome to the River Great Ouse in Bedford, host to the Bedford Grand Prix and the final rounds of the 2013 Powerboat GP British Championships. It's a somewhat depleted field that's made it here to the Stewartby Lake for the final round of the headlining Formula 2 catamaran class after a war of attrition in Nottingham.
Contact! Massive accident! Jelf has lost it. A massive accident for Jelf.
With the top three in the championship covered by just 6 points, the bonus point for pole position was more important than ever. But it wouldn't be one of the top three who took it. Colin, your season's coming together a little bit late.
Yes, I mean, we finally got a pole position, which is good. I mean, we was leading the last meeting, but the propeller broke, so it's all coming together right at the end of the season. But, I mean, that's good for us, because this season was really a pre-test for next year.
It's a different course this time out at the Stewartby. Talk us through a lap of the course today.
Yeah, basically, you start across the start-finish turn, flat out, straight into a 90-degree pit turn, then you're up full speed on the main straight into a flat-out 90-degree turn. We're doing about 120 miles an hour, and then you carry that speed into the hairpin, basically the last turn before the finish, and you really have got to get that one nice and tight to get the pole.
Owen, you've been forced back to your old boat for this critical championship decider, only qualified 6th, not going well.
Well, it's not going well at the moment, but there's three more races, right? And the boat, even though I've gone back to the old one, it's still a good boat, and you know, have to see.
Malcolm, for the past 2 years you've been the man to beat in Formula 2, but you only managed to clinch the title in the last round last year after loads of dramas, and now you're repeating it. What was the trouble this morning?
Well, when we come to power the boat up this morning after Nottingham, we had a failure on the power steering, which unfortunately can't be fixed today. So
you've qualified 5th, you've got to start this first heat then without the power steering.
Yeah, I start without it, but looking to stay out of the way, don't cause any issues for any other drivers, just try and collect a couple of points if I can.
So this is it, the first of 3 heats to decide the 2013 British Formula 2 Powerboat Champion. Time for us to join our race commentator, Jason Mantrip, as we wait for the lights to turn red.
The red lights are on. We wait for them to go out with Colin Jelf in pole position with a 44.69 second lap. That was enough to gain in pole position. And Paul Balfour lined up next to him with Steve Holt third on the grid as they charge up towards the first turn. And look at the speed of Steve Holt then. The speed of these two as they charge up towards the top, and Holt has already got past Paul Balfour, but they have to stay in their lanes round the first turn. And Steve Holt then trying to make his way up through into second position, but he knows that he's got at least another boat on the left of him, which is Balfour, but he's passed him, and Steve Holt is in second position, and through the spray of Colin Jelf as they go back down towards the pit turn. But Colin Jelf is the clear leader at the moment, with Steve Holt in second position in boat number 40, and Owen Jelf back after a massive accident at Nottingham in third position. So Steve Holt then had an excellent year so far in 2013, but he's chasing this man, Colin Jelf, as we have a look at the start, and we're on board with Malcolm Goodman in boat number 1. He's getting squeezed out by Steve Holt on the left in the red boat and Owen Jelf on the right, but Malcolm Goodman has his own problems today because he has power steering problems. He's got no power steering on that boat, which it makes the boat very, very hard to control. In fact, almost impossible with these mighty 2.5 litre Mercury Optimax engines. So we're back on board then with second position boat Steve Holt, who's still chasing down Colin Jelf, but Jelf is the master really of leading a race. He's had a bit of a mixed year actually, so it's nice to see Colin Jelf back up on fine form as we now look further down the pack, and you can see that Malcolm Goodman in boat number 1 really off song, and that is the steering issue I was telling you about earlier. And now Alan Marshall in boat number 34, who's also not really having a great day, is starting to catch up and starting to chase Malcolm Goodman. But Colin Jelf is the leader and wins heat number 1 for the Formula 2s. A magnificent drive for Steve Holt, who collects second position. So there are the confirmation of the results, with Colin Jelf with the win, Steve Holt second, and Owen Jelf up to third.
How are the arms, Malcolm?
Sore. Fingers are throbbing. I can't feel my fingertips. It was hard work. Hardest race I've ever driven.
Whilst the Formula 2 title could go any way, the Junior Championship for 9 to 16-year-olds has virtually been already sewn up for the 4th time in succession by 13-year-old Ben Jelf. Ben, just a top 10 finish today and another British title.
Yes, we're going to try the best we can, though. But it's always about doing, we've got to come as high as you want and let someone else win.
Really, another win. Thomas, it must be a good feeling coming back to Stewartby Lake where you won that sprint title.
Yeah, it's a different course, so it's a little bit tricky. I've got a bit of confidence now after the Worlds and winning here at the sprints, so pretty good.
Jess, there's a big battle to be best girl in the championship, but also you could be runner-up. Which is most important to you?
I think they're both the same. Best girl would be nice.
Bit of a needle match then. You're lining up alongside Charlotte there. And you're allowed to sort of push aboard this race. You're allowed a bit of touching and nerfing to nudge people out the way, or is that frowned on?
No contact.
No contact at all?
No.
I've seen a bit, though, in the past.
Yeah, sometimes it happens.
Charlotte, you've been so close, you two girls. You're right side by side of the championship, just side by side on the grid after qualifying. It's going to be tight, that first corner.
Yes, definitely, but I get a better start, so we'll see.
Oh, confident then.
Yeah.
Here we go for heat number 1. It's their final race of the 2013 season for the GT15s. A big number of entries once again for these youngsters, but it was Ben Jelf who set the pole position, just like his father did in the Formula 2s, but Ben Jelf doing the same in the GT15 class. So Ben Jelf back on top form after not a very successful Nottingham weekend, but he did find himself with a few difficulties there. But the pole position means that Ben Jelf has still got the speed and the capabilities of winning a race. And at the moment, Ben Jelf is out in front as we're now looking at Jess Beaumont in boat number 22. She is charging at the moment the other female driver. There's many of them in this race, but Charlotte Newton in number 72 is just ahead of her at the moment. Number 12, Thomas Mantrip finding himself in second position. So Thomas, who has in the past beaten Ben Jelf, and I'm thinking back to the British Sprint Championships where Thomas actually beat Ben, but Ben Jelf today is back to being on top fine form, and I think this weekend is going to be a tough one to beat. So Jelf is the winner then, and Thomas Mantrip collects second position with Jess Beaumont, first of the girls, in third position. New driver Chloe Jones, her first national, finishing in 9th. So heat number 2 then, with Ben Jelf in pole position and Thomas Mantrip second, and the two girls of Jessica Beaumont and Charlotte Newton third and fourth on the start grid. So they leave, and oh, that's very squashed in, isn't it? But Jessica Beaumont avoiding contact then with Charlotte Newton, and they all keep straight lines, straight lanes up towards the top there, as Jessica Beaumont then seeming like she's got the job done not only on Charlotte Newton but also Thomas Mantrip, who's dropped back there. Jonathan Brewer then in a different boat this weekend. He had difficulties with his other boat, so he's in a borrowed boat for today. So that's why Jonathan Brewer is struggling a little bit then. But Ben Jelf is not struggling. He is out in front, but he's got competition now because Jessica Beaumont coming down, and she's moved up into second position ahead of Thomas Mantrip. So there's a significant change there as Lucy Brewer, we can see on board with her. The rest of the pack just up ahead. In fact, her brother then just 1 place in front of her. So the rest of the pack then coming down towards the pit tunnel, and Charlotte Newton in 72 in the black boat trying to keep the boat stable as the prop wash from the other front boats kicks up a little bit of spray and makes the water rough. But Ben Jelf takes the checkered flag then to win and makes it 2 out of 2 today. So Ben Jelf then does make it a victory, with Jessica Beaumont a significant 2nd position for her, and Thomas Mantrip in 3rd, with Chloe Jones getting another 9th position.
Make sure you join us after the break for the concluding heats of the 2013 Powerboat GP British Championships. Welcome back to the Stewartby Lake near Bedford for the 2nd of the 3 Formula 2 catamaran heats. Championship leader Malcolm Goodman has had his power steering problems fixed and goes out to line up 5th on the grid. But his main championship rivals, Steve Holt and Owen Jelf, are 2nd and 3rd, so he's got it all to do. Time for us to rejoin our race commentator, Jason Mantrip.
With 1 win already under his belt, Colin Jelf starts in pole position. Can he make it 2 out of 2 then? As Owen Jelf, his brother, getting a bit of a bad start then and getting very squashed in. So Owen Jelf is not up there, but look at these two. Jelf and Steve Holt in the red boat, side by side once again as they... Oh, and Steve Holt's canopy there. These drivers are all enclosed in safety cells, and Steve Holt's canopy working loose. And you can see it there, and that's going to be very, very annoying for him. And a little bit of a distraction. It is day 2 of the event, and Malcolm Goodman now has got his steering issues sorted out from yesterday, making the boat much, much more easy to drive. Yesterday it was a handful, but today the boat is more manoeuvrable. So we go into the pit turn then, and there's another change because Paul Balfour in number 29, the black boat, has moved up into 2nd position. So Balfour is 2nd, 3rd is Steve Holt, and Malcolm Goodman is 4th, but he doesn't need to win, he just needs to stay consistent really this weekend. No heroics from Malcolm Goodman, but Steve Holt then and Goodman now. Oh, and Goodman, having said all that, Goodman goes for the manoeuvre and actually goes through on the inside of Steve Holt, so that canopy then for Steve Holt must be a little bit annoying now, as well, it's not over yet, is it? Because Malcolm Goodman round the right-hander, he's got probably the worst position at the moment on the outside. Steve Holt, one final attempt to try and get it round on the inside, but he backed out of it, and Steve Holt had to yield in the end and let Malcolm Goodman go through into that 3rd position. So Steve Holt then struggling now with that canopy, but it seems like it's settled down a little bit. But there's another man who's struggling, Owen Jelf. I think he's got some kind of handling problems as well, as Alan Marshall in number 34 having a bit of a ding-dong with Owen Jelf for a lower position. And another driver with problems is number 6, John Masters, and that's more of an engine problem than a steering issue. So Steve Holt then demonstrating how flighty his mole guard gets coming round the right-hander. But the race is over, and Colin Jelf, the leader, does make it 2 out of 2 and is followed home very, very swiftly by number 29, Paul Balfour, who collects 2nd. So Colin Jelf then makes it 2 out of 2 with Paul Balfour in 2nd position and Malcolm Goodman back on form in 3rd position. And John Masters then did manage to finish the race in 8th position.
Owen, not what you needed there. What's the problem?
We think it's the steering. So the boat was oversteering, so we need to fix it now.
Not what you needed today?
Not what we needed, but there's always another day, right?
Steve, not the result you wanted. You've got it all to do in the final heat now.
Yeah, it makes it more interesting, doesn't it? Yeah, no, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time going around approaching the turn, boys, so I always had to move on and you get absolutely wet and you can't see where you're going, so you got to be careful. But yeah, the last heat's going to be good.
So as one Jelf's championship hopes fade, the question is, can another Jelf claim his 4th junior crown?
It's looked pretty handy for Ben Jelf on winning 3 out of 3. This is the third race. Can he do it? As you can see the technique that all of the drivers use to try and get the boats on the plane to get them up to top speed as quick as possible. They use their body weight to try and get the front of the boat down onto the water. So they're all away then, and Ben Jelf is up there in front at the moment, but Thomas Mantrip, just as he has been all season really, just knocking on the door of Ben Jelf, but the advantage of being in pole position is the tightest way around the first turn, and Mantrip then having to stay in his lane, and in fact he leaves the space because Charlotte Newton in 72 just almost squeezing through into that second spot, and Charlotte then in third position at the moment, but Mantrip coming down towards us. He will not be wanting to be beaten, and at least by a girl, but Mantrip in second position with Charlotte Newton in third. But Ben Jelf then is the clear leader once again. It's looking pretty good for a 3 out of 3 and another British title as a retirement for Chloe Jones in boat number 3. She's had 2 9th positions and now unfortunately a retirement, her first race in a national championship. Closing stages of the race now, and Thomas Mantrip giving it his all then as they go around the top turn, and 3 boats battling for position with Charlotte Newton, Jack Pickles and Jess Beaumont all fighting towards the end. And you can see now how close these 2 girls are, because Jess Beaumont on the inside, but it's not enough to get past Charlotte Newton this time around, as Ben Jelf then can see the checkered flag. There it is, it's waved at him, and collects 3 out of 3 wins this weekend, with Thomas Mantrip collecting the second position right on the rooster tail. So Ben Jelf makes it a hat-trick, with Thomas Mantrip a good second position for him and Charlotte Newton in third position. A retirement for Chloe Jones means Elliot Fleet moves up into 9th position.
Ben, a huge relief, big smile now finally after all the problems with the sprints and the world's British champion again. How does that feel?
It feels really good, yes. We've tried the hardest as we could, and everyone else drove us just as good as well.
In the end, the third and top girl was decided in Jess's favour after a countback of podium places was taken into consideration. By finishing 3rd and 4th over the weekend, Jess Beaumont and Charlotte Newton joined Jonathan Brewer in a tie for 3rd place in the championships behind Thomas Mantrip. So congratulations goes to Ben Jelf on the British Championship.
Other British titles decided over the weekend were Ben Morse in the brand new Formula 4S catamaran class. Jordan Muckles fought off 2 fast ladies in the bucking, bouncing GT30 monohulls. David James took the T70 monohull crown for the more mature racer, while James Marr almost barrel-rolled himself to victory in the hydroplanes before receiving the traditional champion dunk. So now there's just one title to be decided for the Formula 2 Catamarans, who head out for the start of their race as we rejoin our race commentator, Jason Mantrip.
Well, thanks, Tiff. It's very, very close, isn't it? Because Malcolm Goodman, Steve Holt and Owen Jelf could still walk away even from this 3rd and final heat with the British Championship. So who's it going to be then? Malcolm Goodman surely has to be the clear favourite, but you can never rule out a Jelf, and you can never rule out Steve Holt with how he has performed this season. The rookie driver in Formula 2 started off a complete newcomer really. He'd raced F4 previously, but now he could win the championship this weekend on this final race. But a lot of laps, 12 laps in fact, separate Steve Holt, Malcolm Goodman or Owen Jelf becoming crowned the champion. So the race is pretty much on, but Colin Jelf really is the man to beat as we watch a very, very close battle then between Paul Balfour and Steve Holt. But Jelf is the clear leader with Malcolm Goodman in second and Paul Balfour in that 3rd position, and a brave move on the inside of Steve Holt then sees Balfour secure 3rd position so far in the race as we ride on board. And Owen Jelf then really still not on song, so we can almost count Owen Jelf out of the championships. So that really then leaves it down to Holt and Goodman. But Paul Balfour is the man on the charge. He actually set a very, very good qualifying time at the beginning of the weekend. But Malcolm Goodman is really, really hungry now for another championship. He won it last year and the year before. Can he make it a hat-trick of championships? He was also crowned the British Sprint Champion of 2013 as well. But Steve Holt is the man who could try and stop it all from happening. But Colin Jelf then, it's nice to see him back on top form as, well, that's a sad sight, isn't it? Because Owen Jelf then being lapped, in fact, by Steve Holt, but Jelf trying to fight back. In the meantime, his brother Colin Jelf, a former world champion in his own right then, speeds on to victory, with being chased by Malcolm Goodman in second position, and if they stay like they are at the moment, Goodman will get the British Championship. But the race is by no means over yet, and Paul Balfour is still in the mix of things as far as the race itself is concerned. But Colin Jelf in boat number 4 is keeping Goodman just behind him at the moment, but Goodman never ever gives up. He doesn't need to win the race, but he is sure having a good go. As John Masters there, we just see a quick glimpse of him, still struggling on with some engine difficulties, but at least he made it out for the third and final race. So Malcolm Goodman then, he knows if he sits where he is, that's enough. And Colin Jelf knows that if he sits where he is, it's enough to take the third and final heat, just as he does as the boat almost breaks down on the start-finish line. So excitement till the end then, with Colin Jelf being the winner, Malcolm Goodman second and Paul Balfour third. John Masters did struggle home, but he got it back to 8th place.
Malcolm, British champion again. After all the dramas, does it feel good?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's brilliant. Brilliant. Just brilliant.
How are the nerves? Boat working fine now?
Yeah, no, the boat was perfect in the end. Got rid of them gremlins yesterday, and then it was great today.
Colin, all eyes were on the championship decider, but you were walked away with all 3 heats, so dominant display this weekend.
Yeah, we finally got it together for the last race of the season. It's all come a bit too late for the championship, but it's gone really well for us today.
Malcolm Goodman secures another British Championship with 66 points. Rookie driver Steve Holt was second with 60 points, and Owen Jelf was third. It's been a season to forget for Matt Polfeman, Scott Curtis and Ian Andrews. Better luck next year.
And so ends another spectacular season of powerboat racing. Make sure you join us next year when Powerboat GP returns.